So this is the first live that I've ever done. I think what I'm going to do is try to answer as many questions as I can off of this list that I put together. So let's see what we can get done as quickly as we can get done. Okay, what if the God of this world isn't the true God, but a false creator called the demiurge? Okay, so that question is obviously from Gnosticism. It is a question around sort of kind of the allegation that the God from the basically the Old Testament is actually demiurgic, right? So the idea really would be that, how do I get this started correctly? Okay, the Gnostic perspective is that we are all God spark individuals. And so we are all part of essentially these like little sparks of the monad, little sparks of reality, like the creation material, which is soul, our soul. And the argument is that in this monadic energy, this all that was one, it had emanations of itself, like emanations of beauty, emanations of wisdom, for instance. So in this divine construct that was actually left in some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as the Nag Hammadi, these are the things that sort of got people to thinking, okay, well, if this Bible that we understand it to be saying that this one God is supposed to be the leader of us, I mean, it's actually very, very demanding and very violent and very against sort of what you would think a god would be like. So I think that that's where we would get this question of what if the true God is in fact the demiurge? And so that's my answer to that. Okay, are we divine sparks trapped in a prison planet? And what does gnosis really mean for escaping it? All right, so that's another very Gnostic question. It's just referring to um, are we divine sparks? I believe that this is true. I don't necessarily know that I agree it's a prison planet, but I definitely agree that it is our soul is sought after, right? Our soul is beautiful. It's very, very, it can move mountains, especially if you understand what your soul can do. And so when we say, are we a divine spark trapped in a prison planet? We are divine sparks. We are in a matrix system that very much would like us to break off pieces of our spark, right? Pieces of our soul. You see that all the time in Holly Weird, right? Where you can get very good things in this matrix, in this material world, by breaking off parts of your soul. And so, yeah, I do think that sometimes people can get trapped here. I do believe that you can do things with your own free will that get you into quite a bit of a bind. And I think that's where you would look into like the prison planet thing, because I don't really know that I agree that prison planet is true. I think that you can do things on this planet that can imprison you through your life choices, i.e., breaking off part of your soul, giving it to an entity that's of this physical world, because now they have a part of you, a binding aspect of you. So that's something that I really think people should understand is as a holistic concept, this planet is not a prison planet. But as far as can your soul, the divine spark, get stuck here through bad choices? 1000% yes. Hi, Pedro Roca. So yeah, that's what I would say about that question. Okay, so the question is, what if the serpent in Eden wasn't the villain, but the first bringer of gnosis? And I think that's an amazing question. Hi, Josiah. Okay, so this is where I would say about the serpent and about that. So we recognize that predating the writing of the Bible, we recognize as well basically that the serpent was really quite used a lot. Where's the slot machine? Fuck, I don't know. Okay, the serpent was always perceived as wisdom, right? And so that's the thing that's very curious about this, is it says if it was or wasn't the villain. I think that that's all getting lost in minutia of what we're doing here, because no matter what, in that Genesis, it's really just a ripoff of like way older texts. So as we're sort of looking at this stuff, it's kind of like, eh, are you trying to like deify the serpent, or are we just trying to understand that maybe the energy of that brought us information that then we sort of did not do good things with? That's always an option. But no, I don't think the serpent was a villain. I think that really all of that is very metaphoric when we are not given the tools. Okay, is reincarnation a trap or a school? What does Gnosticism say about breaking the wheel? So samsara, right? So breaking the circle. So reincarnation, I believe, has some issues with this trap, right? Because in certain texts, there's an understanding where it's like, don't go to the light because the light will loop you back in the Saturn moon matrix. And I've heard all that. But what I understand from my work, right? And I work in metaphysics, I work as a medium, I speak with people who are on the other side all the time. And you can believe me or not, I don't feel strongly. But what they all talk about is there is a generalized desire within themselves to return. There is this unfinished project. It's almost like when you promise that you're, uh, when you promise that you are going to finish a puzzle that you started, there's a desire within our soul to finish that project. So whenever we pass here, it's not that something is yanking us back or it forces us to come back, but it's almost like, oh my gosh, I started this project and I'm not done yet. I'm still struggling with like vanity, or I'm still struggling with anger. And so we will craft our next visit into this location so that we can kind of fulfill what we feel we haven't gotten done. It's all self-driven. It's all what we want. So, um, they said, what's the difference between faith and gnosis? And why did the early church fear the latter? So I would say gnosis is definitely the knowing of within, right? The remembering. Oh yeah, I do know how to move energy. Oh yeah, I know that I'm not alone all the time. Oh yeah, this is going to work out for me. That's gnosis. That's like, yeah, I remember that that's true because my soul tells me that's true, because my soul remembers all the different times that I've been here and all the different things I've done and all the projects I'm working on as a soul bearing person. So, and faith is just hoping, right? It's if I believe this is true. I believe this is right. So they're really not as different as you would think, but they're also, you know. Okay. What did Aleister Crowley actually mean by do what thou wilt? And is it dangerous? I do think it's dangerous. I think that the number one topic in satanic, I believe the satanic like standards is solipsism, which is the belief that basically solipsism is like everything is to serve you, do what thou wilt. There is no like consequence. That's what people will say about Aleister Crowley or and his belief systems. And I think it is dangerous. Of course, it's dangerous. We don't get to exist in a world where we just get to do what we want, right? We have boundaries. We have there's spiritual laws at play that do not allow for that to occur. Like, I'm sorry. And there are rules of three. For instance, if you break through metaphysics certain people's free will, you get hit back in three forces. Just like if you give, if there's activity of like spiritual generosity, you get some of that back. So no matter how this cuts, you really don't that do what thou wilt is probably it's a very fun thought, but it actually will get you in trouble very quickly. Okay, why do secret societies obsess over ancient Egypt and the mystery schools? Well, because that's where everything still is. I mean, like the Book of the Dead is literally a script that Hollywood still uses to break psychology down, right? So they will literally destroy the current psychology of one soul, fracture it out in as many ways as possible, all under the age of 3, so that it's best done that way. And then essentially they'll reprogram these fractals. So that's all in the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. Like, read it if you don't believe me. And so anybody who's really fascinated with things like that, you just want to understand that they're not really there for good things. Um, okay. Can sigil magic actually change your reality? And what is the psychological and spiritual mechanism? Okay, so sigil magic is really, it's basically anchors, right? The anchor is the sigil, and it brings forward energy, like people who are working with that same sigil. It also brings forward the originator of the sigil. It also brings forward any of the contracts that the original sigil creator would have created as a standard. So there's all of this stuff that you don't know about, and then you might be using these sigils and you don't really understand what you're anchoring towards your reality. So just be very mindful of that. What's the psychological and spiritual mechanism? It's your intention. It's the intention to connect. So what are you doing with the sigil? What are you hoping that it does for you? And what are you willing to give up in the pursuit of that? That's always the question that these things do. Um, are the elites practicing occult rituals in plain sight during major events? Of course, yes, absolutely. Any major sporting event, any major musical event, any major award ceremony, anything of that nature, anything that could really get you um, eyeballs on a screen, you can assume that there are going to be some energies that are anchored into that event, right? Because all they need is for you to observe it. They don't need for you to understand it. What happens when you successfully invoke your holy guardian angel? They become present. They're allowed to manifest near you. They're now given the opportunity to do their job. So asking for your guardian angels to be active is the best thing that you can do always at any point in any time. No doubt about it. It is the core. In fact, guardian angels and spirit guides, all these things, they demand that you ask for them to be able to work on your behalf. Because if they were just able to do anything for you whenever, isn't that just a possession? So like if your spirit guides could make you make the right choice every time, that's not really free will. That's breaching the same rules that demons try to breach, right? So guardian angels and spirit guides, they are of the light. They have to listen to you. They have to abide by your free will. So that's the reason why you must ask and invite their help in, and then they will, and they go like gangbusters. You should never forget to ask for your guardian angels to help you through your day, through big conversations. I ask them to stand by me when I'm about to fight with my boyfriend. They're around. I'm always with them. Or actually, I should say they're always with me. Um, okay. The question is, what if your anxiety, depression, and glitches are actually signs you're starting to see through the matrix? I think that there's some truth to that. I think the main thing that I'm most fascinated by would be the glitches that are around, like finding. If you guys have heard about this at all, it's crazy. Finding like the new, like what would you call it? The new, like different extra pieces. Like that stuff is so crazy to me. The different, it's just so exciting. So, anyways, I gotta hop off because I've like joined a different live. But I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.